So I was watching some videos on the child-free movement that we currently have going on. And I'm going to tell y'all, the women are very clueless to a lot of stuff, even that has to do with them. Because it's like I'm hearing women in videos about child-free life saying, oh, well, the birth rates globally are down, which the birth rates are down globally. Some people are having more of a birth rate issue than others, like Japan and Russia. They're having a larger issue with the birth rate than some other countries are. Obviously, most of the countries that are experiencing birth rate issues are European countries. If you were actually to do some research on the declining birth rate, you would see that this is mostly prevalent among European countries. In fact, I would venture to say the continent is not having a birth rate issue at all. I do want y'all to know that the continent is not having a birth rate. And when you have birth rate issues, it can be because of a number of different factors. It can be because of fertility issues in both male and female. And those are some issues that have been discussed as well. You can have systemic issues where women don't want to produce children because it's too expensive. That's an issue as well. That's a huge issue. Really, I would say even more so than fertility issues, the biggest issue is the economy, and that's the global economy. In our country, rather than address the economic and systemic issues, they want to try to force you to give birth, which I don't know, y'all can look throughout history, but that hasn't been very successful. That hasn't been a very successful way of increasing the birth rate. It just haven't. The reason that I'm saying this is because I've been watching some of these videos and there are women asking, why are they only talking to women about the birth rate? And I don't understand this, because there's only one group of people on this planet who can give birth. And so you wouldn't talk to people who don't give birth about the birth rate. You would obviously direct that towards the people who do give birth. So I don't understand women in videos saying, oh, well, why are they only talking to women about the birth rate? Because you're the only person who can give birth. That's why. You are the only one who can give birth. Men can run around like Akon and say that they can nut in an incubator and have a baby.
The woman don't create life. They support the creation of life. The man is who create life.
Every time I say it, they laugh at me.
Man, we're gods. We the ones that create life.
No, to women I'm saying, just conversation.
Right.
I just said it to you the other day.
And let me give you an example of the science of it. A man right now can create life without a woman, but a woman can't create life without a man. If I wanted to create life right now without a woman, I would just shoot my sperm, put it in the incubator, and just give it 9 months, even maybe less with today's science, and a baby will be born. A woman can't do that. So men, we are the creators of life in actuality.
But based on the birth rate, it raises the question, then why aren't men nutting in incubators to increase the birth rate? Why aren't they doing that? If men hold life in their sperm, why aren't they just shooting a sperm anywhere? Why don't they just go shoot it into another man? Why don't you go put your nut in a cow or a sheep or a little plastic container? If y'all feel like y'all sperm, for the men, if you feel like your sperm is life creating, then it wouldn't matter where you put it. It would create life regardless to where you put it. And so meaning you could put it in a woman, you could put it in a man. Life creating means life creating. So with this birth rate issue, why aren't men just being required to nut into inanimate objects or animate objects? Like, why don't y'all go get a sex doll and then have your babies that way? Since men are saying women are just incubators, then you can use anything to incubate a baby. If you have the life bringing stuff, then there doesn't need to be a discussion with women. Women don't need to be a part of the equation, or their rib. Exactly. Why don't they go back to using their ribs? That's a good question for men. If there's men in here, can y'all tell me why don't y'all just go back to using your rib to create humans? If that's how it started, then you can still do it. Why don't men use their ribs? Why don't we see any legislation around men's ribs and their ribs being life creating? They said that humanity started with the rib of a man. So then humanity should be able to end with the rib of a man. I'm confused. Is Christianity correct or is it not? Because if life is in the rib of a man, then just take your rib and go create some humans. You know what? We should all do that. Actually, as women, we should all do that. As women, we should write our mayors, we should write to the White House, and we should tell them the good book, the Bible, says humanity was started from the rib of a man. Why don't we do that? Just use, exactly, Maxie, to use rib and bussy. That should be the only thing they need. And I don't know why they're not. And I don't know why women aren't either. If y'all's good religious book says that men, you the seed of a man through his rib, oh, okay, the men start breaking off your ribs then. I don't know what's going on. Can somebody tell me what's going on? Anybody? Can anybody tell me what's going on, please? Because I don't see why we not using men's ribs to increase this birth rate. I know we got some men in here. I know we have to have some men in here. There's always some kind of dusty bandit lurking somewhere. So where is Dusty James? Where is just Dusty James who said men not out fully developed babies? Because I think that James, the government needs you. Bring James on down. Bring him down because the government needs you. The government needs you to nut out some fully developed babies because you said this is how babies are created. James said it was through men nutting it out. Akon said men can nut in an incubator. And the Bible says that humans were created from the rib of a man. There's a bunch of men with ribs running around here. Why aren't these men using their ribs to create life? It's time to call somebody's bluff. It really is. It's time to call somebody's bluff. Let's see how real that Bible is. Let's see how real that creation story is, men. Get it, go lay on the table and take your ribs out. What we doing? I'm confused too. Now I'm confused just like women in those videos. I'm confused too. Because you got a book here, a religious book here that says humans were created from the rib of a man. We don't see any scientists, any biologists, any geneticists. They taking these men's ribs. Why do these men get to run around with their ribs? Y'all better get these ribs popping and start making these babies. You can head over to Outback. They got ribs. Chili's got ribs. McDonald's even got ribs. Somebody about to put their rib on the table to create these humans. I don't know why y'all are talking to women. I don't know why you care if women choose to have a kid or not. You said they came from the rib of a man. Let's put that to the test. I say we put it to the test, especially if y'all not gonna come out and just say the Bible is a lie. You said humanity started with the man. Take his rib and start multiplying. That's what y'all need to be doing. I don't know how many ribs a man got. How many ribs do you got? Y'all running around with 6-pack of ribs? That sounds like 6 babies. That's what that sounds like. It sounds like if men are running around with a 6-pack, use 6 of them ribs and make some babies. Where's Akon when you need him? Because the birth rates globally are down. This ain't no woman issue. How is this a woman issue? How many babies were medically unalived by men? That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because your rib is what's creating these kids. So a baby can't medically be eliminated when they come from your rib. So men, you're not gonna jump out of the equation now, men. Take accountability. Y'all haven't been putting your ribs to use. That Bible says a rib was taken from a man to create woman. None of y'all explained how women got to birthing people, so that's a moot point. Use your ribs. Why is Nick Fuentes running around here talking about your body, our choice when he can just use this damn rib? Men are selfish. They're selfish. They selfish because they don't even want to sacrifice one of their ribs for the betterment of humanity. That's how selfish men are. Men will sit there knowing they have some very viable ribs that they can be using to create people, and they're choosing not to. I want y'all to understand what's really going on here. What's going on here is that men realize none of what they were taught was true, especially about who creates life and who doesn't. Because if it was true that woman came from rib of man, then that would mean humans come from rib of man, which would mean you can just use men's ribs still to create. I don't know why we not doing it. Why ain't y'all using y'all's rib and your nut to create life? Life creating means life creating, much like women's wombs. It doesn't matter who nuts in it. As long as they're human, at some point a child will be produced, because women's wombs are life creating. Sperm is not life creating. Like the notion that sperm is life creating is just silly. It's not. Your womb is life creating. Bottom line, if men could create life, they would be out doing it, and they wouldn't be interacting with you at all. I don't even think they would be around you, because they act like they don't like you. So if they could create life on their own, do you not think that they would be doing it? If their ribs was really how humans were created, do you not think that they will be using their ribs? They will be using their ribs because they're desperate for a way to replicate themselves without you. They can't do it. They haven't found a method of it, and they're not. So women, when you ask why are they talking to women about the birth rate, it's because really, in reality, you're the only one who can create life, and they're showing you. They're showing you. Pay attention to what they are doing, not all these lies that they telling you. They can tell you whatever lies. Whose body is they trying to co-opt? Who are they complaining to about the birth rate? You, because you control the birth rate. They can talk about what they sperm can do. They sperm can't do a damn thing, or else they'd be using it to do whatever they think it can do. Independent of a woman, a man can do anything to create life. He can assist a woman in creating life, but other than that, he does not possess that ability. If he did, they would be doing it. You think they will be running around complaining to you if they could create life? No, they would just be creating it. They cannot create it without you. And that's because they can't create it, you can. The only thing they can do is bring you their genetic code. Obviously, it has to get there some way. That's what the sperm is doing. The sperm is bringing the man's genetic code to the woman. That is it. That is all. It ain't creating no damn life, or they will be out creating life. Yes, ribs and sperm are meaningless without a woman. It is meaningless. And the funny thing is, you can have a child if you want to. They can't. Women are doing absolutely nothing to men. Women are just trying to live and coexist with men peacefully. But because they're not peaceful in general, you cannot do that. This is not a war. This is oppression. This is men throwing a temper tantrum, trying to force you to do something that ain't gonna work out. Even if you look at globally what they're doing, it's just really not smart plans. Logically, you would address the issues as to why women don't want to voluntarily have children. If they were logical, that's what they would be doing. The illogical thing is to try to force somebody to do something that they don't want to do, because you know that will end up being messy. Because if y'all think this is going to be a smooth transaction, it's not. This is going to get very, very messy. And that's because they're not being logical. Logically, you would fix the systemic issues. They're not really multidimensional thinkers, not like y'all think that they are. Yeah, even when you mention Handmaid's Tale, what's being overlooked is that 99% of the children that were born did not live. Gee, I wonder why. Probably because you're trying to force women to have babies under stressful situations. Yeah, not a very good plan. It's not a very good plan, because even if they take you out, which they can't do, because if they take you out, then they take it out themselves. They're not going to do that. If you force women to give birth, it's going to be messy. You're going to have a bunch of miscarriages. You're going to have women terminating their babies. You're going to have women terminating themselves. This is just not really the smartest plan. But they doing it. It ain't the smartest plan, but they doing it nonetheless. It's a plan. Is it a smart plan? No. Is it a plan that has longevity? No. Is it going to backfire on them? Yes, it is. Because logic isn't being used here. Desperation is. They're not logical. They're not even making logical decisions. I'm done with this discussion, because obviously men ain't gonna come over here and use their ribs. They just not going to, apparently. They've been saying that they have life creating sperm that they can nut into incubators, but they haven't done it yet. They haven't. And the reason why they haven't is because they say things like that to you to lower your self-esteem and self-value. And it works because women are out here and have been out here talking about men got the seed. Do it look like they got the seed? Do it look like they really believe they got the seed? Or does it look like they're treating you like you have the seed?